If you have the time, you may wish to stay for our SMG word, scripture message from God, and our Bible encounter for today. Yan. Sisters, do you still have time, or we say goodbye to you already? The novices. Yeah, okay, you're staying. Ayan. So sa birthday boy natin, happy birthday po ulit. At yung pong gustong sumama sa kanila, magpapa-breakfast sila. Yeah. So good morning, everybody. Good morning po. Good morning, everyone. To our online parishioners who are staying with us, let's do another Bible study or encounter and reflection. And we focus on the feast that we had yesterday, the Sacred Heart, and today also the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Are you still okay? Can you check on your heart? Is your heart okay? Yeah. Is it still beating, or is it palpitating, or is it already slowly losing its strength and energy? So today we focus on the heart, connected with the Sacred Heart and the Immaculate Heart. So we look at the heart in the scriptures. The Hebrew word for heart is leb, L-E-B. And the Greek word for heart is kardia, kaya ang mga cardiologists. No? So in Greek, heart is kardia or kardian, and in Hebrew, it is called leb. Strange that the first mention of the word heart in the Bible is in Genesis chapter 6, but already it is a broken heart. So we go to John chapter 6, or rather Genesis chapter 6, verse 6. This is in the warning of the flood. When the Lord saw how great the wickedness of human beings was on earth, and how every desire that their heart conceived was always nothing but evil, the Lord regretted making human beings on the earth, and his heart was grieved. That's the first mention of heart in the Bible. There was nothing but evil in the heart of men and women, and the heart of God was grieved. Portent of things to come in the entire scriptures later on. You know, it is sad that the first mention of the heart of God in the Bible is about the broken heart of God. And why? He's excited to create everything. And we know what happened in the as time passed on. His heart was broken. Genesis chapter 6, verse 6. The Lord regretted making human beings, and his heart was broken. And so di ba, no? Parang sad, no? Parang we start with a broken heart. And whose heart is it that is broken? The heart of God. Why is the heart of God broken? Because of the hardness of heart of people. We break the heart of God time and again. We do that. That's our favorite pastime. To break each other's hearts and to break the heart of God because of our stubbornness. Oh, sisters, novices, don't break the heart of God. Huh? Persevere. Yeah, I made a I made a compact with you. Yeah, I will pray for you, that you will persevere. Breaking the heart of God is something so sad, and we do that by our own sinfulness. So that's the first mention of leb or heart of God in the scriptures. And down the line, I will not go into the specifics. Down the line in the history of the Israelites, it is one covenant broken after another. God makes a promise to them, God is faithful to the promise, and time and again, humanity, the Hebrews, the Israelites, the chosen people, would renege and would turn away from that covenant. God made a promise, for example, to Moses. And yet, when Moses liberated the Hebrews from slavery in Egypt, when they were wandering around the wilderness, all that God got from the people was a grieved heart, a broken heart. They would worship the golden calf. They would turn away from God. They would accuse God of being unjust. They would complain and grumble against God every day. We don't have food. We don't have shelter. Why did you bring us to the desert? Why this and why that? Always complaining. Their heart was never satisfied. Even when God provided manna for them in the desert, they were complaining, what is this? That's really the meaning of the word manna. Manna, we know as the bread from heaven. But the literal meaning of manna is manu. Manhu. Ibig sabihin, what is this? That's the meaning of manna. The manna means, in Tagalog, manna means, ano to? That's the literal meaning of manna. Akala natin manna is bread. No. Manna means, what is this? So you see the dynamics of the relationship of God with the people. And even Moses himself, Moses supposed to be was the mediator of the covenant between God and man. No, Moses received the Ten Commandments in Mount Sinai. And what did Moses do? Also turn away from God. That's why he was not able to arrive at the promised land. He was not able to cross. Why? Because also turned away from God. God told Moses, speak to the rock. Moses did not speak to the rock. He strikes the rock. And he disobeyed God. And that's why he was punished for that. God made a covenant with David. David, the greatest of the kings. And what did David do? Yes, he was the great leader of his people, a very good king and shepherd to his people. But what did David do? Took Bathsheba for his wife, killed Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba, and took upon himself this wife that is supposed to be not his. Again, even David himself broke the heart of God. Solomon, for all his glory and wisdom, my goodness, we know what happened to Solomon. In the beginning, he asked the right question. God was telling him, so Solomon, what do you want? What do you want from me? You want more power? You want more army? You want more land? You want more wealth? And Solomon said, no, Lord, I'll not ask for those things. I'll ask for an understanding heart. And God was so happy that finally I have a king that will make my heart happy. But not meant to be so, because in the end, Solomon would take hundreds of wives and concubines and worship pagan gods and turn away from the Lord. Again, breaking the heart of God. And that's the pattern. That has been the pattern ever since of the scriptures. From Genesis chapter 6 down the line, it was always God loving, and in loving us, He would find Himself broken. So kapatid, you are not the first one to be broken-hearted. Pwede ba? No, you always look at yourself. You do a lot of self-pity because you say, oh, my heart is broken. Gutay-gutay na puso ko. Pwede ba? You're not the first one to experience that. Of course, I'm not invalidating your sadness and your pain, but God felt that time and again. His heart is always broken by the sin of humanity. Yeah, pakicheck. Can you check on the person beside you? Is your heart broken? Earlier in the Mass, we were asking, what do you keep in your heart? Today, in this Bible encounter, let us ask ourselves, what does your heart look like now? Right now, at this moment, what does your heart look like? Is it a burning, flaming, inspired heart? Or is it a broken heart being thrown into bits and pieces? Yeah, it's hard to talk if you have a broken heart, no? Yeah, and a lot of times our coping mechanism, if your heart is broken, is it's yeah to find comfort in so many other things and vices even, no? Just to comfort our heart. Some people, in order to console their broken heart, what they do is eat and eat and eat. So that's their coping mechanism. Once a person gets brokenhearted, they eat. Yeah. And I know here, so many people here in the parish, their pastime is to eat. Yeah. Yeah. And dinadamay niyo pa ako dyan. Ayun tuloy, laki-laki ko na. No? Yeah. Yeah. So of course, we want to be nourished in the... but, you know, what is our coping mechanism whenever we get broken in our... So, what the Lord did was we go to Ezekiel 36:26. And what did the Lord say to the people through Ezekiel? Ezekiel 36:26. I will give you a new heart and a new spirit. I will put within you. I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you so that you walk in my statutes, observe my ordinances, and keep them. I will give you a new heart and a new spirit I will put within you. I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you so that you may walk in my statutes, observe my ordinances, and keep them. So in the prophet Ezekiel, the Lord, again, never stopped loving us, pursuing us. Like the hound of heaven, he kept on pursuing us. And he, this time through Ezekiel, tells us, I'll give you a new heart and a new spirit. Not a stony heart, but a heart that is human. The Lord did not promise us a divine heart, because that divine heart belongs to Him alone. We cannot be divine. He is God and God alone. What did God promise through Ezekiel? I will give you not a heart of stone, but a heart of flesh. In other words, I'd like you to be what you are meant to be. When I created you in my image and likeness, you carry with you the imprint of my heart. But in a different manner, you will learn to live according to my instruction to you. I will ask you to live with a human heart, not with a stony heart. So we ask ourselves again, what kind of heart do we have right now? Is it a stony heart? Or is it a broken heart? What kind of heart do you have right now? Is it a pusong manhid na? A heart that doesn't feel anymore? It has become numb. Do you have a numbed heart? Or do you have a grieving heart? What kind of heart do you have? May I stop here, and I'd like you to talk to each other again, heart to heart. Yeah. Cor ad cor loquitur, as they say in Latin. Heart to heart. Can you please have a heart to heart talk with, if there's someone beside you? Can you just ask the person, what is the state of your heart right now? Is it grieving? Is it what? Sad? Is it broken? Is it numb? Is it happy? Is it, elated and elevated? What kind of heart do you have right now? If you would ask me, sige, magkwentuhan lang kayo, magkakipagkwentuhan ako sa online. If you would ask me, my heart today is really sad. No, I'm really sad. To be very honest with you, I'm very much affected by, by what happened, again, nakwento ko ito last time, by what happened with one of our priests, and it has affected us. Ganun po pala yun, once you belong to a body, let's say a body of priests, we are a body of priests, like priests of Manila. It's like that pala, no? You experience also a certain pain when somebody is in pain. Somehow you can resonate with them because you're bonded by the same sacramental brotherhood, so to speak. Because you're bonded by the same ordination by the bishop. When a fellow priest is, somehow, because Cardinal Advincula already decided to suspend his faculties. I think because this is public naman, this is not a gossip. So I feel that very personally and strongly when a priest gets suspended for, you can't say the mass anymore. You can perform your duty as a priest anymore. You can't hear confession. You can say mass. You can do this and you can do that. And it pains you also. So that's the state of my heart right now. Parang I feel for your fellow priest, and you say, it's not supposed to be like that. No? We are supposed to be shepherds. Yan. That you'll find that in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. Tapos na kayo magkwentuhan? Hindi naman kayo kinukwentuhan ko, yung online. So, in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15, that is also the promise of the Lord. I will give you a shepherd according to my heart. Yeah. And it's not just for the priest. I will give you a shepherd according to my heart is for all of us, not just for priests. And let me read exactly what Jeremiah said in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. I will appoint for you shepherds after my own heart, who will shepherd you wisely and prudently. When you increase in number and are fruitful in the land, they will in those days no longer say, the ark of the covenant of the Lord. They will no longer rethink of it or remember it or miss it or make another one. All nations will gather together to honor the name of the Lord. They will no longer stubbornly follow their wicked heart. In those days, together, they will come from the land of the north to the land which I gave your ancestors as a heritage. And I will appoint for them a shepherd after my own heart, who will shepherd wisely and prudently. Yeah. The image of God in the scriptures is a shepherd who has a heart, a shepherd who is wise and prudent, a shepherd who is caring and compassionate. So the promise of the Lord was, I will give you a new heart, and I will give you a shepherd with a heart. And not just priests, but we are shepherds to one another. Do you shepherd your family with a heart? Do you shepherd your children with a heart? Do you shepherd your husband or your wife with a heart? And it pains me also every time I hear in counseling or in confession when people tell me, Father, I have lost my love for my husband, for my wife. I don't know what happened between the two of us, but now we are just waiting for the divorce so that I can divorce him. Parang hirap pakinggan po nun, ano? Marami po ngayon, to be honest with you, there are so many people right now waiting for the divorce bill to become a law and pass. I tell you, once it is passed, the dam breaks. And, that would be the day when we say to ourselves, what do you really want for your family? You want to break it? Again, do not get me wrong. There are families who are really suffering because of the continued abuse in the family. We're not talking about that. There are some couples that are not meant to stay talaga. because they are just abusive of the other or the spouse. But that is not what God intended to be. We are called to be shepherds to one another with a heart. Shepherding with a heart. That's the image of God in the Old Testament. He is a shepherd with a heart, and He will give us shepherds also with the same heart as His. And we are called to do the same, to be a shepherd to one another with the heart. So question again, friends, what kind of a shepherd are you? If you are a person with authority, a person in a certain position, or a certain leadership role in wherever you are you shepherding with the heart, or are you a shepherd that is so cruel, a shepherd that is arrogant or selfish? So are we shepherds with a heart? So again, check on the person beside you and ask, do you still have a heart? Or are you ruled already by a stony heart? You don't feel anymore. You don't have empathy anymore. You can't be in solidarity with others anymore. You have already closed yourself. You have closed the door, and you have nothing to do with others anymore. You don't care. The root word of care and cure is core, and core is heart. You cannot care if you don't have a heart. You cannot cure if you don't have a heart. So doctors also, that's the same. There are many doctors who have lost their heart. They are in the medical profession, yes, healing people, giving medicine, giving interventions, but no longer with a heart. No more heart. Yeah. So question, Doc, do you still have a heart for your patient? Oh, question, mga professionals in the legal profession. I was talking to someone, and I will not mention the name because I think he is somewhere watching us today. So I bless his apartment, etc. And then he was telling me, you know, Father, in order for us to get a permit to run an apartment unit here, I will not mention the city, do you know that we have to pay 500,000 pesos just to get a signature from a guy in the city hall? When he saw the receipt that the guy was, was holding, the amount that is needed in order to pay was 300 pesos. And the guy, in order to get his signature, was demanding from them 500,000 pesos. Sabi niya, pare, tingnan mo yan. 300 lang yung permit na kailangan ko. Sisingilin kami ng kalahating milyon. Nang you people in the government, may puso pa ba tayo? Do we still have a heart for people? Di ba? I rest my case. Baka mo. Yeah. Again, shepherding with a heart. Shepherding with a heart. Sana nga lang, lahat na lang tayo lumaki sa farm, no? Para innocent tayo, wala tayong alam. No? Minsan kasi, di ba? We become so, demanding and so, Asa na ba ako? Wag tayo mapunta sa farm at ibang usapan yun. So that's in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament. Now we go to the New Testament. When we talk about the heart, splanknisomai is Jesus' attitude of having pity on people. His heart is moved with pity. The Greek word that is used is splanknisomai. You find this in Mark chapter 6, verse 34, Mark chapter 8, verse 2, Matthew chapter 9, verse 36, Matthew chapter 14, verse 14. You find there Jesus being moved with pity for the people. His heart is so moved with pity for the people because they are like sheep without a shepherd. That's what you find in this. For example, in Mark chapter 6, verse 34, you find in the feeding of the 5,000, when he disembarked and saw the vast crowd, his heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. And eventually in the story, Jesus saw the need of the people, and he fed the 5,000. So his heart was moved with pity for the people. Yan, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. Again, the image of a shepherd with a heart. So you find that also in Mark chapter 8, verse 2, in Matthew chapter 9, verse 36, in Matthew chapter 14, verse 14, upon seeing the crowd, Jesus would always say, they have nothing to eat. Can we feed them? His heart is always moved with pity for the people. Yan. Kaya po yung Sacred Heart, the Sacred Heart that appeared as a devotion to Margaret Mary Alacoque is already who Jesus is in the scriptures. His heart is always beating in love for the people. So question again, do we have a heart like the heart of Jesus? When he saw the leper, Mark chapter 1 verse 41, when he saw the leper, his heart was so moved. When he saw the two blind men in Matthew chapter 9, 27, his heart was so moved. When he saw the widow crying because she lost her son, the widow of Nain, in Luke chapter 7 verse 13, his heart was so moved by it. You see, the Sacred Heart of Jesus always splanknisomai, always moved with pity and compassion and mercy. So question really, friends, is our heart like the heart of the Good Shepherd, Jesus Christ? Is our heart a stony, grieving, broken heart? What kind of heart do we have? And Jesus says in Matthew chapter 11, and so good to hear this from the Lord himself. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 and 29, what do you find? Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest in peace. No, there's no peace. No, he just said, come to me and I will give you peace. Learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. Yeah. So Jesus' heart is always moved with pity for the people. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened. Learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. You will find rest for yourselves, for my yoke is easy and my burden light. Why does the burden become light and easy? Because Jesus will carry it for us. He will help us carry the burden. Why did Jesus say, my yoke is easy and my burden is light? And you tell the Lord, Lord, how can this load be easy and light when I am already, up to my neck here and I can't breathe anymore? No, Jesus is not lying when he said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. What he means to say is, if you entrust it to me, if you surrender it to me, I will help you carry it. I will help you lighten the load and the burden. Amen? So if you want to find rest for your heart, where do you go? Go to the heart of Jesus. The heart of Jesus is the hiding place. Diba? It's a beautiful song. You are my hiding place. Come to the heart of Jesus because it's the best hiding place. And that's the very reason why the heart of Jesus is wounded. Because that wound is an opening, a door, so that we can enter to the heart of Jesus. The reason why the heart of Jesus is wounded and continues to be wounded, so that we can enter into his heart and find consolation and hiding place in his heart. Every time you are about to cry and break down, go to the heart of Jesus, enter into his heart, climb into his heart, and you will find rest for your soul. And that's And who did that first? Who did that hiding in the heart of Jesus? John chapter 13, verse 23 and 25. Who did that? At the Last Supper, while they were at table and they were reclining, to his right was John the Beloved. And what did John do? He reclined at the heart of Jesus. Again, if you are familiar with the Jewish meal, they don't have a table where you are seated around the table. They are reclining at table. In other words, when they recline, the table is in front of you, and you recline with your left hand supporting your body, and your right hand will be getting the food. So you are reclining. So John was at the right of Jesus, and so when he reclined, where was his head? His head was right in the chest of Jesus. And John even asked Jesus, "Is it me, Lord?" When Jesus was predicting the one who would betray him, "Is it I, Lord?" And Peter also, asked John, "Can you ask the master, who is it that will betray him?" And John asked the Lord, "Who is it, Lord, that will betray you?" So again, like John, let us lean into the heart of Jesus. If you have problems and trials in your life, lean into the heart of Jesus. I think that's the Sacred Heart devotion. We need to cling to the heart of Jesus. Lean in, not just cling, but lean in. Ang tawag natin sa Pilipino, maganda, di ba? Humilig ka. Humilig ka sa puso niya. Humimlay ka. Hindi sa himlayang Pilipino, kung hindi, humimlay ka sa puso ni Jesus. And you will find rest there in the heart of Jesus. Find your comfort in the heart of Jesus. And in John chapter 19, Jesus was on the cross. John was standing in front of the cross. He was beholding the heart that's pierced with the lance. John chapter 19, verse 34, and I would like to end with this, because that is the Sacred Heart of Jesus, pierced with a lance. He was already dead, but to make sure that he was already dead, the soldier pierced his heart with a lance, and came out blood and water. From the wound of Jesus came blood and water that gives life to us. Look at the love of the heart of Jesus. Sinibat na sugatan, nagbigay pa ng dugo at tubig. Wait, there's more. John chapter 20, 27, 28. In the resurrection, Thomas was not there. And so Jesus needed to appear again and told Thomas, "Thomas, don't be unbelieving. Put your hand into my side. Do not be unbelieving." So sino ang nakakapa ng puso ni Jesus? Who was able to touch the heart of Jesus? Thomas. Jesus gave him the privilege of touching his side. In fact, his finger was inside, like a surgeon looking at touching the heart of Jesus. And we are all invited to be like Thomas, to believe. Like John, to lean into the heart of Jesus. Like Thomas, let's put our hand near the heart of Jesus, so that we will believe and no longer doubt. Friends, so today we have explored the scriptural basis of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And what Jesus did was to repair the broken heart of God in Genesis. In Genesis, the heart of God was broken because of the sinfulness of humanity. What Jesus did was his heart broken, but so that he can repair. You see the difference? In the Old Testament, the heart of God was so broken that he allowed the flood to eat up and destroy everything. But when the heart of Jesus was broken, blood and water came forth to give salvation and hope to all of us. So we come to the heart of Jesus, we come to the heart of Mary, and let us be filled once again with His mercy, with His love and compassion. Amen? Last question. So what's your heart now? What does your heart look like right now? May I ask you, entrust that heart to the heart of Jesus. And it is the heart of Jesus that will heal your wounded, broken, grieving heart. And in the end, that heart will find rest and consolation in the heart of Jesus. Amen. Thank you very much for listening. I'm very sorry, napahaba tayo, but thank you once again for being with us in our SMG Word for today. God bless you all.